And then we start working on what takes the longest. So in this case, the longest item is going to be our chicken, right? Our chicken cutlets, which I'm going to leave in the bag because I don't want to cross-contaminate, and our pasta. So we have, at home, you have 4 eyes on your stove. I've only got 2. I'm going to start on both of them simultaneously. First thing is getting the water boiling for the pasta. Okay? Once we get this water boiling, I'm going to preheat my skillet for the chicken. Once we put that on, we're going to talk about our other items that we can prep and get going. So I'm using a sauce pot today. Filled it a little more than halfway. We are going to salt and oil the water for the pasta. Now for this, I'm going to use a little extra virgin olive oil. Now I told you we don't use this for many items, but for pasta, this works. And boiling water is just fine, right?
And I think Miramar should remember that if you are back from a previous class, if you've taken class with us before, just go ahead and either let us know in the chat, say not my first time. If it is your first time, just go ahead and say I'm a newbie. Yeah. That way we can know, because then Chef Chad will know what stuff he needs to focus on. Right.
Yes, and all I'm doing is I'm just preheating this skillet. Okay. I'm preheating this. I'm gonna switch them over. Actually, I'll switch it over now so we can focus on what's what, right? This is not the appropriate top cover for this.
Hi, Wanda, welcome back.
What up, Wanda?
We got a not my first time. If this is not your first time, go ahead and drop it in the chat, not my first time. If this is your first time, just go ahead and say, I'm a newbie.
Dude, this is not the appropriate top cover. Don't worry about it, right? We gotta do it. For our chicken, right now, I don't know, do we have any newbies, man?
Right now, I don't see anybody saying that they are a newbie.
Okay, cool. So for our chicken, if you go back to the prep class, we always talk about how you take the chicken breast. You would take this particular chicken breast right out of the package, right? You put it into a bowl, said bowl, and you add some lemon or vinegar and water, and you let it sit to clean it off. Then once you've done that, you put it into a Ziploc bag and season it, put it into your freezer, and it's ready to go. So our chicken is already ready, right? My skillet is getting white hot. We're gonna add some onions in with this real quick.
The Bayesian muffin has been here before. I hope I read that. I really hope I read that right.
So with your chicken, you can just add your chicken to a really hot skillet, which you see my skillet is smoking hot. That's what you want. Or you can do what I love to do, which I always add in a little bit of onions. Now this is an advanced technique. The onions are going to caramelize and just add an extra layer of flavor to the chicken. I'm a fan of caramelized onions. So all we're gonna do is just gonna run through these real quick so we can add them because my skillet is getting nice and hot.
Do we have to add the onions?
You do not have to add the onions. This is not a have to. This is Chef Chad being Chef Chad because it's so good. All right? Ooh, I can smell that. That's smoking hot. You see the white smoke? That's how hot your skillet should be. When your skillet is that hot, you're gonna add just a little bit of oil, which we'll find eventually. So for right now, we're gonna use spray. Okay. Drop the onions in, right? This is not going to mess up the sear on your chicken. I know everybody's like, I want my chicken to get seared, get a nice little brown. Don't worry about it. These onions are good. Being careful not to touch the inside of that bag. We are going to drop the chicken in. And because I still was playing with it, I'm still going to go ahead and take off my top layer of gloves just to be super safe. At home, at that point, you can go ahead and just wash your hands. Let's position these chickens in the right place. Let's move them over, right? Let's move them over. Let's get them right in there. Now that I've got my oil, we're gonna add about a tablespoon. I use a squeeze bottle to make life easier. My chicken is pre-seasoned, so I do not have to add any seasoning to this chicken.
Can you just pause right here, Chef Chad? Well, don't pause because I know we gotta keep the time.
I am keeping moving.
We gotta keep it moving. But can you just touch on the chicken? This is the city of Miramar, so we've done a meal planning class with them.
Yeah.
But I just want to reiterate again, how did you do that chicken? If you were in that meal planning class, we showed you how to.
I did talk about it, but I can do it again.
Did you?
I went through the whole thing. I pulled out the bowl. I showed them the bowl.
Seriously?
The whole Charnel, your girl.
Oh my gosh, you're so fast. I just ran to get the oil.
I went through it.
Sir.
So
All right.
let's look at our ingredients though. We already have, so we keep time with our meal. We already have our pasta. We have water getting ready to boil for this. We have fresh broccoli. So to prepare that, we're gonna blanch it. We've got stuff for our sauce, okay? Now we have our bread, which is for our garlic toast. We have our chicken, which is already working, okay? So next thing you wanna prepare is gonna be your bread and your broccoli.
Which I know we tried to find whole wheat bread and could not get it this morning.
Yep.
But we want you to use.
They sell out of that a lot.
Yeah, we want you to use whole wheat, whole grain, something. Just use this same technique that we're using.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use the same technique on whole wheat, whole grain bread.
And so the same thing that I do for my onion, I'm gonna cut my butt off. So nobody wants that little end. Okay? Cut your butt off, and then cut you some nice size slices here. Now I'm making a bunch because every time I make this, my son is guaranteed to eat 2 to 3 because he doesn't just eat it with the meal. This is one of those running snacks throughout the day. So I just get myself ready because I already know I want to enjoy some today too. And I'm sure so does my wife, not just my son. So we're gonna take them. We're gonna, this is gonna be the skillet we use. I've got a flat skillet, but you can use any skillet you like. I'm just gonna put this, actually I'm using this as my pot cover. So put that over there. I just wanted to show you.
I want to take the time to just apologize. I just let people into the chat. I apologize that you had to get that new link. The old one, I don't think Zoom links expire, but for some reason that old link is invalid or was invalid. We actually just got started, but it's being recorded, so we'll make sure that you get, as usual, we'll make sure that you get the recording that you can look at later. But again, we apologize for the inconvenience, not only of starting late, but of getting you in here late as well.
So let me recap real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we're making a chicken pasta. This is chicken that we had pre-seasoned the same way we did in our prep class, and I'm sauteing it here in the wok. Okay? I put some caramelized onions in there because I love that. Okay? I love how it builds the flavor. This is water that we're bringing to a boil that's getting hot for our pasta. We started with those two elements because those take the longest time. We want to bring this to a rolling boil, so I'm going to cover that again. And now we're on to our bread. So I just sliced our bread, and we're going to get ready to make some garlic toast here.
And obviously you could do this with bread slices as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Regular bread slices work. This is just a little bit nicer. I'm using olive oil instead of butter. This is an olive oil-based butter, so it's slightly more heart healthy. You can always use a margarine, but I love this. If you've never seen it, give it a shot. It's really, really dope. We're going to add a little bit of butter to each side of the bread. Okay? We're not going to go crazy. Just a little bit. Actually, not even to each side, just to one side. If we did both sides, you would call this like a Texas toast. But to help reduce the calories and it's still going to taste amazing, only do one side of the bread. So this way you still can enjoy something that we love, but you're also cutting out some of those things that we don't love so much that make our waistline expand. You know, and I got a heck of a waistline myself, so I know what I'm talking about. This is expert talk here. I'm just messing with y'all. So once again, drop a little bit of the butter, right? By this point, you're gonna smell your chicken. It smells like it's starting to char, to caramelize a little bit, to burn, as my son was saying. I always tell that boy, I don't burn. I'm a chef, right? So we're gonna get ready to flip our chicken over, and it's still not gonna be cooked, but don't be afraid of that little char smell. You want that. You want that exact smell. So let's come over, let's flip this, right?
So this is a
See that black thing right there? Oh, you want that.
So why do we want that? I mean, I know why we want that, right? But
and add a little more oil.
That char allows us to put less seasoning on the chicken
Yes.
because the technique is what brings the flavors out, right?
All of this flavor. All of this. All of this right here. That's all of what you need in there. And trust me when I tell you, it's massive. It's big, right? Big, big, big. So just leave it in there. Don't mess with it. You notice these are thinner sliced chicken breasts already, so they'll cook a little faster. If you have the really thick ones, I'll show you a technique in about 5 minutes for how you get those to cook. So now we're going to walk away from that. We're going to come back to our garlic toast. And to make it real, we have to add our main ingredient. This is garlic powder. There's no salt in this, okay? No salt. So just take a little bit of the garlic powder, season, and hide. No salt, okay? Now, here's where you get to have fun. You take any of your other favorite seasonings. For me, I've got some roasted garlic, or I've got some Wild West steak. I think I'm going with the steak today. What you think, man?
The steak is good.
Steak is good?
Mm-hmm.
I know you love your roasted garlic.
I do.
So I'm just going to crush a little bit right on top. You don't need a lot. It's just a little bit right on top, okay? All right. Now our bread is prepped and ready to go. We're going to move this off of our cutting board and get right there. Look, and as if it was perfect timing, my water is boiling for my pasta. Let's take a second and do that, okay?
And Chef, you talked in other classes about using the wok. I'm not sure that we talked about it here, but the wok is really just your preference, right? They can do this exact same thing in a regular skillet.
And I'll go over with them why I use the wok too. I'll go over with that in a second. Thank you. That's a great one.
Yep.
Let me show how to add the pasta. This boil is called a rolling boil. That is exactly what you want, okay? So when you add your pasta in, you don't have to try to fit the whole box in there. In this case, most of the box fit. You see it comes just under the top of the water. That is good because this pasta is going to swell and grow. So now take a spoon and just stir.
Did you talk about the type of pasta?
Just stir, not yet. Just stir, okay? Give it the first stir. Leave your spoon in there because you're going to have to continue to stir. Today we're using garden rotini. So this is a hack for parents to get more veggies. If you notice, right, the garden rotini has, it talks about a pasta salad, but this garden rotini has veggies in it. It's got some spinach, it's got some tomato, right, some carrot and tomato. So it's a veggie pasta, so you actually can get in 1 cup a full serving of veggies. Now, I still like giving more veggies, but like I said, this is a hack, right? We try to use this veggie pasta any way we can to sneak some veggies in to our diets.
And I know you've done actual veg pasta before.
Many times.
This is like step one. This would be like step one of introducing vegetables into your pasta would be the veggie pasta, but the spirals that I've seen you
spirals,
do.
Yeah, zucchini spirals, squash spirals. You can do sweet potato, carrot. Amazing. And if you guys ever want to see a pasta with that, just let Charnel know, and we can have some fun.
Well, would you? How long would you boil it for the same amount of time?
Not at all. Not at all. If I was using like a zucchini spiral, the difference would be I'd bring my water to boil, and I would drop it in and almost pull it right out. It's a true blanch. So with that being said, I would have a hot sauce. So if you want to substitute, imagine what we're doing here. You drop your zucchini spirals into the hot water, count to 30 seconds, pull them out, set them aside. They're cooked. You don't want to cook them until they're soft. The next thing you would do in that moment is we would make our sauce, which in this case we're going to do soon. And when you make your sauce, your hot sauce is what's going to reheat them for you to serve it immediately. Okay. So you just got to be careful with overcooking them. That's it.
And they can buy the veggie spirals themselves and make them themselves, right?
Absolutely. There's a spiraler that you get from the store. It's like $3.
How hard would you say it is to spiral your own veggies?
Man, it's easy enough that you let your kids do it. Once again, the little people with the good backs, let them work on that. All right, you don't do that. Now I want to come back to the chicken for a second. I want to show you because sometimes you'll have a thicker piece of chicken, which in this case, my thickest one is in the middle. You don't know if this chicken is all the way done. So what we are going to do, actually using this knife, so I'm going to slice it right down the middle. Open it up. Look at that. Not done. Close, but no tomatoes. So take that, put it right in the flat of that pan. Let's do the same for this one here. Let's open her up, right? Oh, look, much closer to being done, still not done. Okay, and if you want to make your life easier, separate them. Now, you do not have to cut in your skillet the way I'm cutting. This is just me being a chef, right? You notice my wok is still moving around because that's what woks do. They don't like to stay still. That is all the way okay, all right? I'm used to it, but you can take these out, cut them on your cutting board, okay? This one is almost done, but the thicker piece is not done as well. So we're just gonna separate all of these. We're gonna turn them down, let the heat get to them directly. Our chicken is almost finished. But because I was cutting a chicken that wasn't cooked, there's still raw on this knife, so I don't want to use this again. So we want to put this knife aside to make sure that we don't cross-contaminate anything. Put our nice little tongs back in, add in a little more oil, and let's go to our broccoli. Big fun, big fun, big fun, big fun. Okay. Huge pieces of broccoli that I literally just want to yam. I know, right? I just want to pick them up and bite them. Unfortunately, that's not practical, and they are not cooked. So what we want to do is make this palatable.
We could eat them raw, though, right?
Oh, you can absolutely eat it raw with some.
Good for roughage, as the Caribbeans say.
For roughage, to go ahead and get your body right, work on your microbiome. Yeah, raw food is awesome. In this case, though, my kids tend to frown on me when I give them raw broccoli.
Yes.
And I don't want them to eat ranch. So we're going to cut them in half. I'm going to cut them in half again. Now, 2 heads of broccoli have given me 8 individual portions. From
large,
2 heads.
Large
portions. So you got to realize that. This is just 2 broccoli crowns. Fresh crowns. Now remember, you're going to get some really great nutrients from this fresh broccoli. So now that that's ready, we're going to check our pasta, we're going to check our chicken, and we are just about ready, I'm pretty sure, to get this meal into its second and better stage. So let me pull this over. Let's check our pasta, right? You see it's bigger? The real question is, how cooked is it? So hold on, let me be better. Okay? Don't do what I do. This is hot. It came out of boiling water. I don't have fingertips, but I'm squeezing it and it's still really tough. You don't want it to be really tough. So let it cook a little bit longer. This chicken, however, look at that. That's done. So we want to go ahead, let's turn this off. It's still hot, okay? And we're going to want to transfer this chicken. Well, don't transfer it yet. Let it rest. We're going to want to cut it, okay? You've got, in a minute.
Let it rest? What does that mean? Is the chicken tired?
Yeah, it's been running around all day. It's been in my mind. Chicken, you can run it through my mind all day long. That's an old joke from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Don't worry about it. If you're about my age, you get it. But the chicken has to reabsorb some of its juices. The heat is just like a steak, right? The heat pulls it out. If I cut it right now, all of these juices will kind of release. I don't want that. That gives you dry chicken. And you want to remove it from the heat because you don't want to keep cooking it. So we're literally going to take this whole skillet. We're going to put it down here. We're going to let it rest. While that skillet is resting, and in between our broccoli and our pasta, we're going to use this time to put our bread on. So this is still hot. I'm actually going to take my bread off of here. Actually, we're just going to flip it. Let's turn it on. Hot. Let's just flip the bread, okay? If you have spray, this is a good time to use spray. Now, Have we talked about that in other classes, babe?
I am not sure. We do so many of these, but we can talk about it again.
So, okay.
Yeah, but we can reiterate.
Okay. Family, y'all let me know. Listen, my wife tells me I tell her the same story over and over again. And I said, listen, as long as you married me, you're gonna have to get used to that. So if I'm telling y'all the same story over and over again, just let me know. But this is a vegetable oil spray. I use this nonstick often as a substitute for oil for as many things as I can find. If you are absolutely not doing oil, you also always have the option of using water, believe it or not. You can use water to help your stuff, keep your stuff from sticking. I know, you're like, what is this crazy chef talking about? I know. But y'all know, you don't learn over time, trust your boy. Crazy chef is good with his. We're gonna get all of these up here. I have this on medium high for right now. We're gonna let it sit. We're not gonna mess with it. We're gonna try and get a good toast on there. Let it do what it do. Just make it do what it do. So kind of forget about this. If you are prone to burning stuff because you forget, then what you want to do is turn it down some from medium high to about medium. I'm good. I've got a good memory. I'm gonna let that work. Okay.
Someone asked me to zoom in on the butter. Can you hold it up for me?
Absolutely.
Talk about it again.
Never seen this in your grocery store? Olive oil. Olive oil is an olive oil butter, right? Meaning it's still regular butter, but it's 67% vegetable oils. That is a little bit more heart healthy than regular butter. It's still a fat that's a solid at a room temperature. So it's not, anything like that. Still, you got to be concerned, but it's a step better, and it has some great flavor. I use it all the time. So you can use it. You can use a little bit less on that. Yeah. It has a lot of flavor. It is a little bit better than the regular that's out there. Can you make garlic toast without butter? I mean, we could just use straight olive oil and garlic toast without butter. Vegetable spray. So straight olive oil is phenomenal. We're used to the taste of butter, which is why I use that. But this spray also works really well, and this is the least calorie and most heart healthy. You can literally just spray it, add the seasoning, and sear it, and you'd be good to go. So that's a wonderful question. Thank you for that. Can you also tell Miramar, and this might be like a trade secret, so I don't know. No, it's okay. It's okay. Well, check my pasta again. Okay, well, how about this? Can you tell Miramar my pasta's done. How they can make their own like olive oil, like season the olive oil? Flavored olive oil? Yeah. Absolutely. I'm doing this the long way. And someone just asked, what about using fresh garlic? Chef is about to tell you about using fresh garlic and other things inside of olive oil. And just like keeping it and letting it sit. So can you talk about that, Chef? 100%. Let me just strain my pasta. I'm just using my spoon to strain my pasta real quick. Okay. I'm going to show you that the pasta it's a little bit less than al dente. Al dente means that it is still chewy. This is a little bit less. But I want to, y'all are advanced enough that you can see differences. Look at this grain of pasta. Right? This is uncooked. Look at how small that is compared to, look at the difference. Color, texture, size, all of that, right? This is cooked, okay? So we want to make sure our pasta expands a lot, and it's gotta have a little bounce. It cannot be smushy. If I can smush this between my fingers, you have overcooked your pasta. That is no good. When you pour off the water, keep some of the water. Don't throw this out. This is good stuff. I'm actually going to use some of it right now because it's hot, okay, to put right back on. I'm going to bring a little bit more water to boil. We are going to blanch our broccoli. So it's a cooking technique called blanching. And then I'm going to discuss the olive oil and the question. And the fresh garlic. Yeah. And the fresh garlic, okay? Because the last thing we have to do is make our sauce, and we are ready. All right, so if you're blanching something, you do need to season your water. So just add a little salt, and let's add some of the roasted garlic in here. Okay. So talk about fresh garlic. inside of the seasonings like roasted garlic, it's dehydrated garlic, but it's fresh garlic.
Can I show them that?
Yes. Oh, just show them the chunky. So dehydrated garlic, but it's still fresh garlic. I also have on the table, yep, take a second.
It's just like granules in the garlic.
Just really thick granules.
Right, really thick granules. It's not like the powdered garlic. So these rehydrate when cooking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you want me to show something else, or that was it?
I've got the minced.
Which is just really fine. And I mean, you can use the just fresh garlic, but the minced garlic is done for you, peeled and everything for you.
And don't mind me, I'm just rotating my bread. I have one that's already nice and toasty. I know my wife likes a little char, so don't worry about that one. I'm gonna make them in different stages. We're gonna do everything from an Albie Shore to Wesley Snipes. Okay, and we're gonna get it right.
What is wrong with you?
I have my moment. Your pasta that comes out. So you talked about the garlic. This is fresh garlic. It just has to be rehydrated. So this is good to go in water, go in sauces, go in stuff, let it rehydrate. This is minced garlic, which is fresh garlic that's already chopped. This is in olive oil. So a little less flavor than the fresh garlic clove, but saves you so much time. So I use that.
Ooh, and it doesn't get your fingers that stinky way that lasts all day. Do you want to tell me the trick?
It does not last all day.
If you know the trick?
The trick to garlic, right? If you're going to use fresh garlic, which is the most flavorful and easiest to use, you have to realize that garlic is going to make a bond to your physical hands, okay? So what we want to do, I'm turning this all the way down. Why won't you turn down? Turn down to my thing. Okay, so garlic is going to make a bond with your hands. It's a molecular bond. To break that, you need metal. So a spoon is good. You can rub your hand on the spoon. It helps to break the bond, and you can go wash it off. But the easiest way is go to your kitchen sink because you're going to wash your hands. Rub your hand on the metal, right? And then wash it off, and it'll break that bond for you.
It'll keep you from smelling garlic for 2 days.
Yes, which we know can happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't like.
Yep. Hold on, I got to wash my bread. Pasta time. My pasta is still hot because we're going to eat this right away. If you're not going to eat your pasta right away, what you want to do is you want to take that pasta and you want to shock it. So run it under cold water. Once it's under cold water and it stops cooking, then you're going to do this. You're going to actually season it. So what we're going to do right now is add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil.
And can you still talk about the olive oil infusion?
Yep, I can. I'm talking about
because then they can use that infusion to rub on the bread, right?
Oh my gosh, yes you can. And watching this bread right here. So add your extra virgin olive oil, add your seasoning, and stir. Olive oil infusion that we're gonna go with, I'm using a little bit of the adobo today. And I'm seasoning low because my fan is on. I still did my sweep though, forward and back. Y'all saw that. Olive oil infusion. Take some olive oil in a clear container. Put in some.
Which you can get at the dollar store, by the way.
Yeah, glass or plastic, but glass is a little bit better. Put it into your favorite, okay, and I mean your favorite stuff. So we put some jerkin once. We put in some fresh garlic. We put in lemons. We put in rosemary, thyme, right? Some basil. Put it in there and sit it in a very sunny window and let the sun gently infuse it over a day or two. And you will have an olive oil infusion. And right now, those are about to get real popular. You're going to start to see many more places doing olive oil infusions. And now you know not to spend your money because I just showed you how to do it. Because that's what Chef Chad does.
And you can brush it on your bread. You can go ahead and add it to your pasta. There's so much that you can do with it.
So many things.
Don't cook with it because if you recall, if you've been in our classes before, olive oil has a low smoke point. It burns very quickly.
Yes.
So you don't want to use it for cooking or frying or sauteing or anything like that. You just want to use it on things that you're going to do very quickly. So that's generally why Chef doesn't put it on our bread, because I like my bread super toasted. But if you're going to brush it on there and just drop it on the, if you're going to brush it on there and just drop it really quickly and you just want kind of like a little bit of a brown, you can absolutely use olive oil.
Now I'm going to make my sauce in the same skillet. I love char, as you'll know, but I do have a little bit of burn, so I'm just going to take some of that out. okay? But I love char. We're just gonna take a little bit of this out. I'm using some of these onions because we're gonna make our sauce in the same skillet. We don't want to take too much of it out because that's our flavor. Okay, so if you cut onions with me earlier, you can use these same onions that are already kind of cooked down. If you didn't, we're gonna cut some other onions real quick and we're gonna show you how to use that. Let's move our pasta, let's move our bread. I know we've got one cutting board, we're sharing a lot of space right now. This is fun times in the kitchen.
Which is not bad because I really don't like a whole lot of cleaning up when we're done cooking. So I don't mind using. Right? I don't mind using limited space.
I'm going to show you how to do an onion, and then we'll come back. Our broccoli, our water will be ready, and then our chicken, and we plate.
This is the city of Miramar. They know.
They know. They don't take that final exam. You know, one question I'm going to ask you all grip. Okay? How do we start it? We got to cut our butts off. Go ahead, cut your butts off, right? Cut it in half. Everything that's round must be made flat. Okay? Peel this first layer. Okay? Peel the first layer, and let's dice it, which means we're going to cut it lengthwise. Then we're going to turn around and cut it the other way. Now, this is if you have not. If you did not put the onions in with the chicken, then you need to do this step. If your onions were in with the chicken, you can literally use those onions. Babe, you want to come closer just so they can see what I'm talking about?
Sure.
You can see that these onions are super caramelized. Okay, and there's a little char down here. So there's a lot of the flavor from the chicken is already in the onions. Now that flavor is what we want in our sauce. So once again, I'm going to use some of these onions, the fresh ones, because I want to show my people. I know not everybody put onions in with their chicken, so we're going to show it as if we were doing it from scratch. Okay? Now here's what I want you to realize as you're learning this technique. What I'm teaching you can be done from scratch without you cooking chicken. So if you just take onions and you dice them and you put them into a skillet, don't add the oil in yet because we are going to add in our butter.
Did you season your onions? Someone wants to know if you seasoned your onions.
I did not season the onions yet, and I'll show you why in a second. Because I want to make sure this is our sauce. The chicken had a lot of seasoning, so I wanted to be really careful about adding extra seasoning because our chicken was already nice and flavorful. So now we're going to take butter.
Welcome.
This is 15 ounces of butter, about 1 pound. So if you're making sauce for one person, you would use a half of a stick. Okay, so that's about 2 ounces of butter. 1 stick is enough sauce for 2 people. 2 sticks is enough sauce for 4 people, and so on and so forth. What I'm saying is you don't need a pound of butter. There are some cooking chefs that will show you that. I am not one. We are 4 people. We're going to use, okay, approximately, what did I say?
2.
Yeah, so it's, 1 stick, 4 ounces.
1 stick. You said 1 stick, 2 people.
Yep, no.
Oh.
A half a stick is 2 people. 1 whole stick is 4 people.
A half a stick is 2 people. 1 whole stick.
So I'm using about 4 ounces. Okay, I gave you those measurements not to confuse you, but because as you start cooking more and more, you're going to want to know how much of an ingredient to use. How much, how little, right? So this is a very important step. The butter and the onions, they're soaking up the flavor. Can you see? I know, sorry. My wife corrected me. I'm supposed to be using a plastic spoon. Can y'all see all this color that came up from the bottom of that pan, and those onions have barely been caramelized? That's a lot of color. That shows you that there was work in there.
So Frederick has a question. You waited until it browned before you added the butter? Or can you add it in?
No, you add the butter in. It was already browning.
Okay, so the onions that you already had in there were already browning. But if they didn't put onions in initially and they added fresh onions, they could add the onions and the butter at the same time?
No, heat your pan.
Right.
Add your butter, then add your onions.
Okay.
right? But this, we already had a hot pan and we already had stuff in it. So we kind of did it backwards.
So it's fine if they do it backwards as well.
Yes, it's fine.
Come out,
For
okay.
this, because you're making a sauce.
Okay.
What I'm doing here is because I'm using the same pan my chicken is, I'm actually deglazing the pan. And deglazing means to pull up all of those little bits of flavor that was in the bottom. So which goes with our next ingredient, which are tomatoes, right? Diced tomatoes. Once again, you can use fresh tomatoes, but these diced tomatoes, the work is already done, and that juice is gonna go to our sauce. Now, I got the tomatoes that have green onions and some peppers in there, so I want a little bit of extra flavor, but we are also going to, at this point,
Walmart?
Those are from Walmart, but you can find diced tomatoes everywhere. At this point, I'm gonna add in some of my minced garlic. Okay.
Is that according to like how much? Like, suppose I like a lot of garlic. Can I add more?
You can't go wrong with the garlic.
Okay.
You can add more. I put in what I think is gonna be right for me. That's why I don't measure. I just kind of go. You cannot go wrong with the garlic. And I wish I had some Italian seasoning out here. I don't. So we're gonna. I'll get some herbs in a second. But now stir this in. Let this simmer for a few seconds, right? About 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Let some of that tomato juice evaporate, and it's gonna start deglazing the pan, pulling up all of those bits. While that's happening, I wanna turn over to our broccoli, and then we will come back and finish our sauce, okay? So, water, rolling boil, this is called blanching. So into a rolling boil, take the heads, stick them in. Make sure, most of that is submerged. If you want to use a bigger pot, you can submerge the stems and the stalks too, but the heads are mainly what we eat, so we want that to submerge. That needs to sit in there for about 2 minutes, and then we'll pull them out, and we'll be ready to eat those like that. There's some part of your stem will be raw, so we can cut that off, and that's okay. All right, but let's get this head cooked, and that'll be ready. Back to our sauce. Pull out your other ingredients. Okay? Half and half. Parmesan. You have 2 types of Parmesan. You have grated and you have shredded. I'm going to use a little bit of both. Shredded Parmesan is notoriously hard to get to melt. Okay? But it adds a wonderful flavor in here. So
And
we'll
I
just
think
add about a toss of that.
I think your original recipe only called for 1 type, maybe the shredded.
Yeah, it only calls for 1 type.
But this is like best practices. They can add this if they want.
Yes. Okay. Well, here's the reason why. The grated Parmesan is if you have to keep only one, keep this one. Because the grated Parmesan, because it's so fine, it will work its way into your sauce and act as a slight thickener, but it'll also become a flavor component in your sauce. The shredded Parmesan does not break down easy, so you can't use a lot of that, right? So here, we're stirring that in. We're giving the Parmesan time to work in. We know tomatoes and Parmesan cheese are friend because of our spaghetti things. When you was younger, I always had to have some Parmesan on my spaghetti. I don't know about you, babe. That was my thing. Oh, yes. How many people here put sugar on their spaghetti?
Me.
Yeah. That's why
we got a me.
That's why I married her. Right? Now you want to take some of your half and half, and this is...
Yes, you're getting some Me Too's on the sugar and the spaghetti.
It's so good!
Just a little bit, yes,
Just
in the sauce. In the sauce, yes.
It's so good. Now we're going to take
And if you're going to use sugar, now you can use monk fruit sugar because that is a better substitute. Do not use...
about the monk fruit sugar.
I didn't bring it out here today, but do not use white sugar. You can get a little thing of monk fruit sugar. It's going to last you a long time.
And get your life with that monk fruit.
Brown sugar. Frederica says she uses brown sugar. Yeah, a little bit of brown sugar, yes.
Only about...
Agave is also good.
Agave is great. Just keep in mind with agave that agave is sweeter in taste than regular sugar, so don't use as much. And with the cream, just enough to turn it slightly pink, right?
Does it have to be half and half? Does it have to be half and half?
No, but half and half has a lower water content.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm using half and half. I think I want a little bit more. You know what you can use if you want to make this healthier? You can use yogurt. You can use sour cream. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I want yogurt in my pasta.
I think we want a little bit more.
Have you made that for me before?
Nope. but I'm just saying you can. There's a lot of people that do yogurt all the time.
Okay.
I'm gonna add a little bit more of my cream. Okay. I'm just gonna stir that in. Okay. And we
6 minutes. 6
I know.
minutes. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, Jerome.
Just a little bit more of my cream. Okay.
Looks good, Chef.
Yeah. It's trying to break, which is annoying me.
Can you
That's
talk
the
about?
Parmesan.
I know you bought.
So it doesn't look as smooth as I would like it. Turn your.
Someone said it is
down.
okay if you use plain yogurt.
Yes.
We will try it. I just
Plain.
don't like yogurt. Period. I don't.
So turn that down some.
What about coconut milk, Chef?
Coconut milk works. Depends on if you like coconut milk.
No, it's
Coconut milk, actually, coconut milk is fire. Sorry. Coconut milk is fire.
Yeah, I love coconut milk, so I use coconut milk as a substitute. Yes. Yeah, I love coconut milk, and I do not like yogurt. I just cannot. No, I can't get over the taste. I taste it.
So I pulled out the broccoli. I'm moving this off to the side. I'm actually gonna start plating, y'all.
Yeah, and
this time.
While you plate, Chef Chad, we bought the.
Hold up. And this is coming to a boil. Before this all the way boils out, add one last ingredient and then let it simmer. Come back, add in some of that pasta water.
That starchy water.
That starchy water. This is the water that I poured off the pasta when it boiled. It's starchy water. Don't throw out. Always save about a cup of that water. That is a natural thickener. It's amazing. Okay.
And it helps your sauce to stick to your pasta.
Yes, helps it come together. So now just take this. Okay. You would, in a perfect world, we would let this sit for a few minutes to thicken up. We can't necessarily do that because of time. So what we are going to do, and I'll show you that it's okay, because I know some people would ask this question, right? You see my sauce is still a little thin, right? That's all right. So quick thickeners.
And then Chef, can you talk about we bought the Alfredo pasta sauce, right? To talk about.
Yes.
But what we wanted to talk about there is that if you're making your stuff from scratch, right? If you're talking about heart healthy meals, diabetic friendly meals, making your stuff from scratch, especially like this stuff, this sauce did not take us long. It is so much better to be able to control what's going into your body, right?
Yep. And I'm using a quick thickener. So I just added in some more of the Parmesan, okay? And that will help thicken it up because the heat's gonna start melting it, makes it stringy. I'm going to pour my pasta back into the bowl, back into this, and we're going to toss the pasta in the skillet. So this is another reason why I use a wok, because a wok gives me so much surface area, I don't have to clean multiple bowls. Now, as long as y'all know me, I think I've talked about woks forever. This is just one of my favorite cooking utensils because it's so versatile. Okay?
Love it.
Now you see how it's starting to coat. It's getting nice. This is beautiful. Let's plate and let's talk. Questions, babe, because I know it's time.
All right, so we are going to pause right here for questions. Maybe you have questions about this. Maybe you have questions about a class that we've done previously, or you just hit a snag in the kitchen and you have a question about that. We're going to pause right here. Either unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can go ahead and drop it in the chat.
And we can go a little bit longer if they need us to as well.
I don't want to be responsible for the city of Miramar not getting back to work.
Oh, okay. That's a valid point.
I don't want to influence them badly, but they can stay and hang out if they like. You do still have 2 minutes, Chef, so you made really great time. You're cutting off the bottom of the broccoli. Why?
Because when I blanched it, it didn't have as much time as I would have liked on the bottoms.
Oh, so you're making like a family plate.
Yeah, I'm going to serve it family style. I'm going to put this right on the table.
You got it. That looks awesome from Frederica.
Wait till, get it done plated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Frederica.
I said thank you like I did anything.
You're doing a lot.
I have to.
Extraordinaire.
Charnel says she loves this plate.
Yeah. So this is another thing for time, right? Serve things family style sometimes, right? Don't worry about having to plate everything individual. So let's take this chicken. We've got these beautiful cutlets. Okay. Let's use the cutlets to our advantage. Let's lay them right across here, right? Let's just make a nice little fan. Right here, we've got our cutlets. Now, let's add in, hold on. I'm sorry. I know I'm down to a minute. This is like on the TV cooking shows.
Frederica said she's so hungry.
They're like, you got a minute, chef. You got a minute before you got to put your knives down. And I'm over here like, no, I can't put my knife down yet. It's not ready. It's not perfect.
Charnel said this isn't chopped.
It's me.
Chef Chad's whole life is chopped. Okay, he doesn't understand how to. He doesn't know how to do any less than what he always does.
Hold up.
All right, and it's 3 o'clock, chef.
Ooh, knives down.
That boy good.
Knives down.
All right.
We still have. We'll give you all.
Oh, and some sprinkled red pepper flakes.
I know we went over.
Frederica said some sprinkled red pepper flakes. So normally we use a lot of red pepper flakes in my house, but our 7-year-old is completely against the idea of pepper.
I don't get it.
Like he don't have Caribbean ancestry. I'm like,
boy, you gonna have to get with this pepper. We telling you now, you gonna have to get with this pepper. We working.
Yep. We are gonna add it to our own plate.
So put some of the extra Parmesan on top of the broccoli, okay? To give it that little extra zing. And if you really love that, add some lemon to it. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this plate. I can't wait to go eat it.
I'm definitely excited.
We're about to yam this thing. Family style. Everybody can just dig in, grab a piece of chicken, grab some pasta.
Looks yummy. I'm coming over.
Come on. I always tell people, come on. If you follow my IG, you'll see what we had guests over the other night. We actually had our first official guest.
Thank you, Kathy. She said great job.
Thank you.
Yes. Chef made he made salmon.
It was crab
topped salmon with a spicy Parmesan cream sauce, and he made these very creamy mashed potatoes that were just phenomenal. Yes, they were amazing.
If y'all don't follow the Instagram, it's just my name, Chef Chad Cherry.
Yep. Follow him on Instagram. You'll be hungry all the time.
Or Chef Culture with a K to see what the other chefs are doing.
Kathy said that's the next demo, right?
Hey, it could be.
It could be the next demo. Yes.
My daughter listen. She almost
you're welcome,
the next day for leftovers, so that definitely could be the next demo because she wants that one again.
Yes, that could be the next demo. All right, we don't want to keep y'all from work. We don't want to be a bad influence on you. We love the city of Miramar. You are our favorite clients. Thank you so much for always having us. As always, you know how to reach us, Chef Culture with a K, KULTURE @gmail.com, chefculture@gmail.com. We are here to answer any questions you may have. Again, we're so sorry that we started late, but we will make sure that Charnel gets this recording to send out to y'all.
And follow on IG, Chef Chad Cherry.
Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Keep up with us. And City of Miramar, we love y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
You know what it is. Love you, City of Miramar.
Bye.
Bye.